Starting stream. Make sure we're live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Uchuu Sentai KyuuRanger episode 19. I am Vashi V, and here with me today are
DK,
King,
Rye,
and we have a special guest today, and I don't know why that had an accent. But our special guest today is
Gokai Platinum from Henshin Sunrise, now live and uncut.
we will expose your balls live on stream.
Oh gosh, I didn't know what I was signing up for. Should I say a little bit about my channel before we continue?
Now's the time.
Alright, so basically, I think some people are familiar with some of what I do. I do podcasts, editorials, but I also do meme videos and just experimental stuff. I think a lot of people have seen my KyuuRanger videos, but I also do reviews, and I'm welcome to suggestions and guests, so I would appreciate if you came and checked it out.
Alright, so without further ado, episode 19, Uchuu Sentai KyuuRangers. Okay, that was weird. First we get a recap from Lucky, and then we pan to plush dolls of the KyuuRangers watching over Champ while he's being repaired. I guess I should ask, what did you guys think of those plush dolls?
I want them so freaking bad. I don't care which, I just really want them so bad. And it is nice to see Champ again, if only for a little bit.
Yeah, plushes are definitely my weakness, and I think it was a good point to start the episode on showing Champ, just because we kind of stayed away from that subject for the most part. I was starting to wonder if we were gonna just do more filler.
The plushes were just the most out of nowhere, especially since they are literally the first thing you see in the episode. It felt like a huge marketing play, hey, you could own one of these.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing because of the chat. I thought they were cute, and if I had the money, I'd buy them. Especially raptors. I thought raptors were cute, and I need raptors and nagas, just for reasons and nothing inappropriate.
We sure hope so. Yeah, so then...
There's that live and uncut quality.
Yeah, so Stinger's pretty much had enough sitting around, and he leaves Rebellion HQ and leaves behind Champ's Kyutama. Then we cut to footage of the Moraimazu fleet coming to Earth. Shalumpo realizes that there's really no hope of defeating the fleet without the Argo ship, so the Rangers are assigned to find the Ryukotsu Kyutama, which is located on planet Keel, according to the map. Then we cut to Don Armage, ordering Earth to be destroyed immediately. He tells Scorpio not to look into the Argo ship, because Scorpio kind of just brings it up. But it only fuels Scorpio's ambition, of course. And then he revives Madako with a new personality. I guess she left behind a tentacle just in case, since she died in another universe. Yeah, so then Stinger flies off in his Voyager, and then we get the opening. So what are your thoughts?
I like that it's starting to become a lot more of a needed requirement of the Argo now, because like they actually said in the show, we are basically surrounded at this point. There's no possible way they can continue on with this fight without the Argo. So now it feels less like it's a side project, more like it's our #1 priority. I like that Scorpio's trying to butt heads with them to get the Argo to usurp the throne. I'm very nervous about Stinger, but I'm sure he'll be talked a bit more about later. But, yeah, I thought it was a good opening.
It's always good to see Madako back. I do like the personality changing gimmick, although I didn't feel like this personality was that different from the last one, if I remember correctly. That was a little weird.
This one was just a bit more assertive.
Yeah, like more like they could be a somewhat equal partner instead of just like living entirely for the person that brought them back.
Thoughts, Basher?
Sorry. I was gonna say, I agree with King that it feels good that the Argo ship is actually relevant now. Like every other planet has one more Imazo on it. The Earth had like 80, and the KyuuRanger is slowly taking them out. Now we here have Don Armagi going, "We're not gonna let them win. Fuck it, blow up the Earth."
Like, I'm glad to see that the stakes are starting to get ramped up, because they've been kind of carefree for the majority of the series so far, only because shit's already bad. How much worse can it get? You know, and that seemed to be the primary thought throughout the start of the series. So now it's, yeah, you know what? Fuck it, blow up the Earth. You know, so then it's adding to a reason to get the Argo ship rather than, oh, we need it to defeat the bad guy. It's now becoming a tool necessary in the war rather than just, you know, one of those things just to defeat the bad guy.
People early on were acting so like even when there was drama going on in the series, we would go like right back to really cheery like filler and crossover episodes and stuff. So it's good to see the stakes actually like raised for once.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, King.
Oh, sorry. I mean, like I said, it's nice that the stakes are, like you guys said, it's nice that the stakes are raised, but, you know, I mean, sometimes that sort of thing requires such filler sometimes. I'm not saying as much as it's had, but to a point where, yes, there are a lot of things that could go wrong, but you have to have some levity in a situation like that. Again, not as much as it's had, but, I mean,
yeah, it was
still,
just
though,
the tone was kind of off. That was all. Like until now.
Fair enough.
Like, I agree with, like, the stakes that this show has, the amount of levity in it seems kind of off for, like, the start of the series. I get it, the whole character introductions and all that. It's like, but yeah, it seems like there should have been a lot more seriousness involved, considering, you know, the fate of the galaxy is at stake. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed the start of it. I enjoyed, you know, Stinger being a jackass. More on that later.
Actually, I have a little bit I want to say about blowing up the Earth. It is the most boring stake. Like, you have to escalate, and that's a really high place to escalate to. But when you get there, it's like, okay, well, the Earth is just gonna blow up. It is boring compared to lower stakes, like, this monster of the week is starving everyone in the town, where everyone is more actively suffering. So when you get to the point where they're just gonna destroy the Earth, you really need to have a good justification to make it interesting. My interpretation of why they're finally trying to destroy the Earth is what makes it interesting, because we have no real reason to know why they're trying to do it. The Earth has something special about it. Don Amargi has admitted this. We don't know what that is yet, but now here he is going, let's destroy the Earth. And in my opinion, he's doing that because he doesn't want the KyuuRangers to save it, so he's willing to throw whatever specialness about it away just to prove a point.
That's actually really hardcore.
It's like, and if my memory serves me correct, there really hasn't been a villain that's been that amped up to just, you know what, fuck why I'm here. I'm putting a stop to this. And in terms of stakes, with the way this series is set up, the Earth isn't the highest stakes, how it is in the majority of Sentai. The majority of Sentai, takes place in Japan. Aside from the few series that show what's going on other parts of the world, KyuuRanger, for example. But overall, it's primarily Japan and Earth, and that the Earth is as high as it gets. So, with this being more galaxy based, and it's everybody's in the series is realizing, no, the Earth isn't the highest stakes that this has. We have an entire galaxy of crap that we can turn into Alderaan. Thank you, King, for that joke. But overall, this series has a lot that they can take the stakes higher with. How well that will work out for them, I don't know. But at least it's not. At least them blowing up Earth isn't, the ultimate finale of shit. My plan went south, which is usually what it is for most of the villains in Sentai.
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying.
Yep. Okay, so moving on. On Planet Keel, we have Spada, Hami, Lucky, Balance, and Naga. We get the episode title, Space 10, Sprite of the Woodland Planet Keel. Kodoro reports that Stinger is gone. Balance and Naga are bound by vines by a mysterious figure. The other three find dark matter, forcing people to build statues of Governor Omega. Not the worst punishment for the humans, like Rai said. Then they star change. Hami uses the Chokoku Kyutama to chip away at the governor's stone face, which angers him, and then he retreats. An old villager has heard of a Kyutama in the forest nearby, but warns against entering the forest. But before he can even tell his story, the rangers just leave. I guess I'll keep going. Spada and Lucky get caught in vines, but an invisible Hami cuts everyone free. The sprite gets a close look at Spada and is immediately smitten. Yeah, what did you think about that fight and the scene?
Is it just me, or did anyone else think this episode was like Legends of the Hidden Temple?
Oh my gosh.
Come on, the Mao Street's name was Omega. How close is that to Olmec? Seriously.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that.
See?
What I did notice was that the lady in the green dress was named Eris. So a little bit of a mythological reference there. Didn't really come into play much, but I thought it was worth commenting on.
Yeah, I didn't think of that one either. Nice. But, Eris is okay, I guess. I mean, I don't love her, I don't hate her, but...
It was cute enough. It was entertaining, but not too noteworthy.
Yeah. Fight itself was okay, I guess. I mean, I like the chiseling bit. That was kind of cute. But, yeah, I got nothing else.
Yeah, that was the part that stood out the most to me. The whole act of the rescue was really quick, which is kind of cool to see, but doesn't give you as much to look at.
I love the gag that they pull in here, where the old man stops the KyuuRangers to tell them, like, wait, you shouldn't go into that forest because whatever. And then they're gone when he starts talking.
Yeah.
And I love the way they do this gag because they fake you out, because the KyuuRangers stop to listen to him and then they leave once he starts talking.
Jerks.
or as I call it, they pulled a Batman.
Also, I love that they made the monster sexy by redoing his eyes. Just cutting the stone with their weapons and like, you're sexy now.
But then he's like, I can't see. It's too bright.
Just overall with this episode, man. I enjoyed the little scene. It was nice to see the fact that Hammy can actually use her powers outside of the suit.
I mean, she is a ninja. Makes sense.
Right, it makes sense. It's like, but you know, it was nice for them to touch on it rather than just, oh, she only used it when she's transformed because power of the chameleon. You
Definitely.
know, which seemed to be the route that they were going. I mean, they did give her some ninjutsu, so it was nice to see that was a ninjutsu, not just one of her suit powers. But everyone be glad with this episode. Zero is not here to stop any of the shipping that goes on in this episode. Because
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, we need you, Zero.
Did you hear about that, Platinum? Zero hates shippers.
I just let people have their fun, man. I mean, I understand if you've got an opinion, and I can respect that. But I mean, I just think that when it comes down to it, let people do what they want if it's not hurting anyone.
well, with this episode, it really gave shippers everything that they need. Literally everything they need this episode, because there's like 3.
Zero's
Throughout
yelling
this
at us to
entire
stop
episode.
our shipping. Everyone stop your shipping!
That ship has sailed.
But like overall, it's like the small things in this episode is like what to me were the nice touch. The dumb thing of, oh, we're gonna make the statue the monster sexy. It's like, okay, that was nice of you. I think.
Yeah, I ship Hammy and the monster.
And then and like I said, it's like, well, when Rai was talking about, where the old guy comes to warn them of why they shouldn't go into the forest, and he lets them start talking, and they all bounce. As I call it, they pulled a Batman, because that's what Batman does.
Oh yeah, that is what he does, isn't it?
Yeah, he'll and whoever it is start talking, and then it will just disappear. And
Yeah,
that is what they did.
Commissioner Gordon knows he's doing it on purpose too.
Just like the KyuuRangers did.
Yeah. So then we cut to the governor asking the Indie which face they prefer, the old one or the new one. But Scorpio interrupts and asks for directions. Then we cut back to the sprite. He says her name is Eris. Her personality returns to being snarky, but it dramatically changes back when she's talking to Spada. She tells the story of how a savior entrusted the Ryukotsu Kyutama to her. The Rangers pose to prove that they're the ultimate saviors, but she's not impressed. She just wants a normal savior. Scorpio steals the Kyutama with his tail. The Rangers transform in roll call and fight. Then we cut to Stinger returning to the bridge. He poisons Garu and Raptor and takes the Argo ship Kyutamas and leaves without his jacket or the Sasori Kyutama. Yet somehow he leaves in his Voyager. I don't know how the hell this is possible.
I didn't notice that inconsistency, but can I mention something weird about that scene real quick?
Go
Go
for
on.
it.
I just thought it was really weird that you could poison Raptor, and it's not like he unhooked some important mechanical part of her either. She was sitting there acting sick after it happened.
Well, Balance was the same way when it happened to him.
But he's a mechanical life form, whereas
Yeah.
Raptor's a robot.
Fair enough.
Yeah, now that you mention it, that's a little odd.
Actually, I think she's an android. I do
really?
recall.
Yeah. Android pilot, right?
I think Champ's the only one that's like complete robot.
Oh, yeah. Mm. I'm
Oh,
sad.
you know what? You're right. I actually kind of got her switched around in my head with Champ, which is cool that they're all completely different types of machines.
Yeah, gives it a little more diversity.
And now the scene makes sense completely.
Yep. Never mind.
I think that the Orion Go holds the Voyagers, and that the Q-Thomas
Yeah.
just summon them. Because you see the docking stations, those might just be more than... Those might actually be, like, garages for the Voyagers. More than
They
just,
might have
like...
done them manually, yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I kind
That
of thought
is-
that the Qtama became the Voyagers in a way because of how the sequence goes, but that probably doesn't work.
No, I always thought that they just, like, created them there, but the only way I can justify this is that they're actually summoning them.
In fairness, there have been a few episodes that have shown that the only thing that the Q-Tama creates is the cockpit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
That still is a question, though.
maybe it has a cockpit when it's docked, and then the Q-Tama teleports the cockpit.
That makes the most sense, but it's
that's
oh my god,
the-
explain your lore, Bandai.
Right. It had a few scenes where you show them in the garage with everything there and connected, and then, maybe this scene will make complete sense.
Or not.
Yeah, the details like that are always blinking. You miss it in these kinds of shows.
I mean, that's the reason. That's the one thing I liked about Go Buster and Deca Ranger, is it showed the Zords in their, where they're docked at, and it showed what everything was there and how everything worked. This one, we haven't really gotten that. All we know is that they're sometimes they're on the ship, sometimes they're not.
Deca Ranger had an episode without regular maintenance, the Zords get really fucked up.
Yeah, they did, huh?
Yeah.
Huh. What did I oh. Sorry, God.
Yeah, moving on. So Lucky fights Stinger 1v1, while the others fight Omega. Scorpio says that comrades are just tools to be used, of course. And he turns Omega into a zombie and orders him to kill all the natives. Lucky stays behind to fight Scorpio. Scorpio reveals his plan mid-fight. Just because he can, I guess. Lucky uses the Hikari Kyutama to get back the Rikotsu Kyutama. And one thing I like about that Kyutama is the acoustic guitar jingle. We need more acoustic guitar in Toku. Pretty good.
Yeah, I want it just because the sounds make me happy, even though I don't think the form is that spectacular.
Yeah. So Scorpio. Do you want to say something?
No, sorry, God.
Okay. So Scorpio takes Eris hostage. Lucky exchanges the Kyutama for Eris. He scolds her and explains that her life is more important than a Kyutama and that she's part of the galaxy that he wants to save. And then Lucky leaves to go help fight, I guess. But
I
after
actually
he
really
leaves,
liked how that was done. I don't know, I'm probably a bigger fan of Lucky than most people, but at the same time, it's like way to steal all the attention from the other people who were like demonstrated to be more like the love interest, the focus of the Eris character. It's kind of like you could have given that dramatic role to somebody like Spada, who she actually was interested in, and then it would have been like, you know what, like I'm just here to save you. It's not about the love or the romance to me, and that would have been made like a really good point to her. But instead, Lucky got to do it because he was the main character. It's just like,
I was going to complain about that exact same thing. Like, they clearly set this up to be a Spada episode, and then, nah, Lucky.
it's just you got to be careful with how you distribute the character development when you have so many characters. Like some characters got a good amount of development, and we've changed some things up, and others just keep getting pushed aside, and Spada is unfortunately one of those characters.
Did you remember that Raptor has a crush on Spada? Imagine,
Barely.
yeah, that's a thing. Now imagine how that could have come to play in this episode if she was on the away team and saw some other girl all up on Spada.
Oh my gosh, that would have been good. Like, this would have been a good show to have, like, all kinds of shipping bait in, too, to be honest. And, I mean, I think if you look at a lot of the shows that are popular nowadays, it usually has that kind of quality.
One guy I really liked in here was Naga, to be honest, because when he was talking about how even I can tell you don't have a heart, for one, again, the shipping bait, but I think you can guess too. But I really like that Naga, even Naga, the freaking Vulcan of the group, can tell that this monster has no love or emotion in him other than greed. And I really think that just fleshes out not only how much Naga has grown and being able to see emotions, but also it shows how much Scorpio really is not the man he used to be, if he ever was at all. So, I mean, just a little thing I spotted. Fight was really good. I agree with you guys on the guitar. I want those sound effects so bad, both of them. And
Yeah, at least there's a lot of drama in this fight. Like, that's great.
And seeing as how Lucky's been on the happy-go-lucky side, no, I did not mean that pun, on a lot of the most recent episodes, I think he pretty much earned a serious moment. Whether or not the character focus was pulled or not, I will agree with that. But, yeah, like I said, he needed a serious moment at this point.
It was a good scene either way, regardless of who was in it.
That is actually one of Naga's best lines so far. Right up there with calling out Sholampo's bullshit.
I agree. You got anything else to add, Rye?
No.
All right. I'm gonna backtrack just a little bit because there was something I forgot to mention with the last set of scenes. While I hated that they did the CG roll call again, I do like the fact that they did the final pose outside of the CG. Because I will always love that. I enjoy when they do that. It's one of the things I liked about the older Sentais. But like the speech and all that Lucky gave, despite the fact that it could have been given to Spada or anybody else with this series, like it did seem earned and very genuine for Lucky to give it, despite everything. Is like, because at least it showed that Lucky actually does have an understanding of what's really at stake when it comes to everything, and what it means to truly be a savior. It's not just, oh well, I'm going to save the galaxy, but screw the people that die along the way that I can save. It's no, I'm going to save everybody I can because you live in a galaxy too. To quote Guardians of the Galaxies, you're one of the idiots who live in it. And even just like his mannerisms through that entire. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just laughing because I realized that they might have actually gotten that from Guardians of the Galaxy.
But I mean, it's like overall, it was one of those with his mannerisms and everything about that he had through that entire scene with explaining it to her. It showed that he truly does know what it means to be a hero and a savior, and what it means to be a KyuuRanger and what's at stake. And the speech seemed very genuine and very from the heart, which for Lucky is fucking rare in this series. If you base it on every other freaking one of these speeches he's given, this has been the most genuine feeling one that he's given. Although it does add to some stupid ass shipping changes with this episode, but what the hell are you gonna do?
Okay, so moving on. Let's see. Exchanged Kyutama, yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't even get to mention. So right after Lucky leaves, Eris is reminded of the past savior, Orion, after Lucky's speech. So Orion is the name of the savior and the name of their big ship.
That
What
caught me
a
so off guard.
coincidence. Yeah, that did kind of come out of nowhere, didn't it? I mean, I was expecting him to be related, but just the straight up same name. It's like, oh shit. So the governor's defeated and turns giant. Once again, Lucky uses the Hikari Kyutama, Taiyo mode, fires up Naga in balance, and they use their Voyagers to pretty much scissor kick Omega, next to the Moraimazu, and then they destroy both. So then Eris is now infatuated with Lucky and pushes Spada aside. And yeah, she pretty much just says her piece, that she trusts them now. Shalumbo reports what happened with Stinger. I kind of like that he held off on breaking the news because they had a mission to do. That was a good touch. Actual good judgment on Shalombo's part. And then we cut to Stinger offering Scorpio the 2 Kyutama that he stole, but he fakes him out and attacks with his spear. Oh no, he attacks with his tail and then he pulls out his spear. Episode end. Thoughts?
Oh boy. For one thing, I like the little touch at the end of the Megazord thing where Naga was so exhausted by his emotion he just about collapsed in the Zord at the end. The spiel with Eris was alright, I guess. I agree with you on the good judgment from Sho. For once, it was a good judgment on his part. The mention of the past heroes thing, I'm hoping they'll touch on that more, because that's actually pretty interesting. But let's wait until the end of this Argo stuff that goes on. Stinger? Oh, God. For one, I'm looking forward to that fight, because I'm hoping he kills the shoot out of his older brother, because that monster needs to go. Plus, he's been around the longest out of all three of the generals, so I guess we'll see where it takes us.
I'm like trying really hard not to, other than the other than like the suits, I'm trying really hard not to spoil myself about like what's gonna get introduced in the future. But just based on the fact that I know that there is a new Ranger coming soon, it makes me wonder if there's some part of a Scorpio that we're not understanding that's going to lead to kind of like a Kyoru Gold kind of situation. If anybody saw KyuuRanger.
I did. Now, are you sure there's a new Ranger coming? I will talk to you about that after the podcast.
Alright. Yeah, because I thought that Ho-Oh Soldier was supposed to be a new Ranger.
Well, let's not get too much into stuff that hasn't happened on series yet.
Fair enough, fair enough. But, yeah, just every time Stinger's been on screen, like, that's been the parts that have really captured me the most with these episodes, just because his acting is just really intense, like as of this episode. Like, it's just, he brings, like, a type of intensity that just isn't in the other parts of the episode. Like, I was just like, it was like the last thing I watched before I went to bed, but when Stinger got back on screen, I was just like, ha, I'm awake.
Yeah, so I have no idea why that light got Naga fired up as well. I guess because he's Balance's partner, you can justify it. The weird scissor kick thing, though, that was weird. Now, when it comes to Stinger, I can understand what he was going for. He had to get close to Scorpio in order to attack him. And if he tried to tell everyone what his plan was, they wouldn't have let him go, especially not alone. Why the fuck did he leave his Kyuutama behind? What made him think he needed to do that?
Maybe it's just his kind of personal way of saying, like, I'm not doing this as a KyuuRanger, I'm doing it as me.
He's doing it to get himself killed because he dropped his armor that will help him stay alive in this fight. He can't beat Scorpio by himself, especially not without that.
Yeah, but he's proven he can't beat him with that, too.
At least he has a better chance of survival with it.
He's on a suicide mission as
You know,
is.
it's just... I just don't think he's thinking, honestly. Like, you're right, he does, but I don't think he's thinking in that type of mindset.
I have a theory. Speaking of theories, pick up the fucking phone because I called it again. I'm getting tired of this. With him, the fact that, yeah, he was going off on a fucking suicide mission. I think the idea that he has is it may be harder for Scorpio to kill him if he's looking at his brother. That's literally the only thing that makes sense. He's trying to play on the whole brother bond.
Didn't really seem to hold him back when he tried killing him back when Champ died.
True, but you know, it's fucking Toei and Bandai. What do you expect?
That it's more like when you're working off of a sense of like you're doing this for yourself, for your pride and stuff, and for your family. Sometimes when it's a personal thing, your self-preservation instincts go out the window when you're being driven on just like how you feel emotionally about, like how he feels emotionally about being a KyuuRanger. He feels like this isn't how a KyuuRanger would do things for like whatever reason, because he had to work against his own KyuuRangers to get there. You know, maybe there was a sense of like, you know, he would have almost been ashamed to do this in the KyuuRanger, you know, get up, because being a KyuuRanger is important to him, but this is more important.
Yeah, that makes sense. The more idea of this isn't about being a KyuuRanger. This is family. So he wants to do this more as himself for the pride that will come. You know, the pride and the knowledge of I did this as your brother, not as a KyuuRanger.
He's not being logical. He's being emotional.
Which is shown to be one of Stinger's problems.
For sure.
Because, I mean, that was the whole reason why Sholampo stopped him from immediately going after him when Champ died. Is because he wasn't thinking clearly, and that's what led to Champ getting killed in the first place. Was because he was being, an emotional jackass. I'm still trying to figure out... I'm still trying to figure out why Naga kind of went nuts. I guess the only other logical explanation, other than the fact of it's because he's, Naga's partner, is because he's shiny, or the fact that he just wanted to be like Balance. Like, I don't think it actually affected Naga. I think it was just him going, "Oh wait, Balance is doing a thing. Let me do a Balance, or let me do like Balance."
I was just like, the sun equals Liu Kang kicks. I'm like, okay, I guess.
Wires and all. Sorry, I watched that movie last night, so if anybody doesn't get that reference, you can you can make fun of me in the comments. But like overall, it's like I'm curious as to where they're leading the Scorpio and Stinger thing. But I do have a comment that I read in the chat, and it's funny. It's about Lucky, because we got on the whole Guardians of the Galaxy thing, and Tanks Go Boom in chat said, maybe in the end Lucky will be Guardian of the Galaxy material, but right now he's an S7 that explodes. I thought that was hilarious.
Savage.
Accurate.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I will admit it was nice to see an actual Zord fight.
Right? Instead of like, let's
You know what?
just
That's a
fire
good
a
point.
laser beam at it because nobody cares.
The last
'Cause, I mean-
few have just been boring laser beams.
Right, because it has literally been, okay, we're going to make this Megazord and blow you up. And that's literally been it. So it was nice to them going, oh, you're right, that's right. We have toys. We have to show them how they work.
Did anyone else think it looked like it was samba dancing?
No.
Maybe a little.
Like when he was doing
it seemed
the
more-
fire kicks?
It just seemed I just think that it definitely seemed like it was lively and it had rhythm. I could see that.
Yeah. Alright. Sorry, continue.
So, I mean, that was a nice little touch. Show actually showing good judgment was another good thing of, I'm going to wait till all this stuff is over to let you guys know, so that way you guys can focus on what you need to do and, you know, what you're doing there, which is important. While, yes, what's happening with Scorpio and Stinger is very important too, but I don't want to distract you from what you're doing and cause you to lose the fight or you know, abandon the planet or whatever, that, you know, because it's lucky he's not shown great judgment with that kind of thing. So I enjoyed that. You know, it shows that Show can actually have some intelligence, which is something that, aside from him bullshitting everybody, he has shown a high degree of not having. Just go back a few episodes and watch him try to stick a giant dragon through a hole.
Yeah, I was always a little bit confused about how to take Shorongpo for a while, because I was like, is he feigning this type of ignorance? Is there something holding him back? Because he seems like he's capable of some level of brilliance, but then it finally turned out to be that he did have something holding him back from being as intelligent of a commander as he actually can be, and now we're actually seeing him do some of that.
And, you know, it's like, and then the whole reveal that, you know, I guess whoever Eris was in love with, or however that whole flashbacky little scene details, was named Orion. So here's my theory on that. Here's my theory on that, because I mean it's one of two. It's in terms of it can go one of two ways. That the Orion that she is referring to is just a past hero who happened to fall under the constellation of Orion. The same way that Lucky is Leo and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Or
so
since
the next one you're going to say is the one that I assumed when I heard her call him Orion.
oh yes, it's the same thing I assumed too. Considering the fact that it has already shown some semblance of sentience, granted in relation to Raptor.
Yeah, Raptor
And that's-
called it Uncle.
The fucking ship. Which, if that's the case, I want a fucking explanation of how the hell that happened.
I've been
know
wanting
what?
an explanation for so fucking long just for the ships being sentient in the first place. Like, I want to see it turn into a mecha, to be honest, since it already has a face.
Like Deca Base?
Like, that would be a really unique looking mecha. It would have been like a statue, but it would have had like robotic components.
Yeah.
We are literally looking at the equivalent of the KyuuRanger's final mech, where it ended up being their home base.
Didn't
KyuuRanger
do that too?
Yeah,
Yeah, like Deca Base.
with a Deca base. Did anyone else do that? KyuuRanger kind of. There was that one temple that turned into a mech, but they didn't really hang out there.
I mean, technically, Gokaiger.
Oh right,
But
the
that was
Gokai
the-
Gallon.
Oh, the Future, yeah.
It was literally.
Do
their
not
home.
know how we forgot that one. Maybe it's because the Gokaiger's mech was boring.
Until they got
my
everybody
favorite
else.
mecha.
Oh, the Gokaiger one?
Yes.
Oh my god, I love the Gokaiger mech. It's got a freaking pirate hat. How can you not?
The-
I mean, like, outside of it actually transforming, Like, oh, it's the Gokai. When it transforms, it's the most boring transformation sequence. That it is forgettable
yeah.
that it is their actual ship.
I'm still waiting for one explanation with the damn Gokai Galleon. What the hell are the other ships that are stored inside of it, and how the hell are they stored inside of it?
Akurite built them. Through magic.
That's not
Yes. Sentai magic.
That pocket dimension D&D bullshit. It is the Gokai Galleon of infinite holding. Jesus
Basically.
Christ, I'm a nerd.
But that makes life fun.
But I mean, that's I will give this one credit than most Sentais. It's why I kind of hated the Gokais. Is at least everybody's ship is useful in its own way for its own reasons.
That was a big problem with Gokaiger for sure. I think it was because the main Zords got shunted out by all the extra Zords that they use as power-ups.
Another reason
Right.
why I called it boring. If it wasn't
But-
for the
I
grand,
just like watching it. I like watching it in combat. That's the
Yeah.
reason why I like it so much.
but if it wasn't for the grand powers, it would have nothing. At least the Gokaijers themselves still had something with their own suits.
Yeah,
Like,
but with
it
these
just-
guys, they've really found a way to give everybody an individual use.
I might just be too obsessed with pirates to be able to see its faults. Honestly, I just get so many I think, what if Captain Harlock's ship turned into a robot, and that's just the coolest thing in the world to me.
In fairness, that would be awesome.
Like, let me point this out. We never actually see the Gokaijers piloting their individual ships.
Oh, we
Oh,
don't, huh?
Yeah,
And-
I'm aware of that, but
That was my biggest problem with the Gokaiger ship, aside from how are they stored together. Because there's no other explanation for but magic, because we've seen almost the entirety of the inside of their ship.
yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's like I'm really, really wanting an explanation for the Orion ship now, with that little bit of a tease that they threw out of, oh yeah, here's somebody else with the same name, and oh, by the way, there were past heroes, and you may finally get an explanation.
It's probably that his consciousness is in the ship.
That's probably a good
In the
bet.
sense that in the sense that that they did have past saviors, I think it's and also it kind of goes back to how in the previous episode there it showed that I've heard some people ask oh, where did all the other space police go? Well, they're in another dimension, and this shows the fact that there were past KyuuRangers kind of shows in a way that this is its own dimension with its own world to build, and I hope to see more of that.
Yeah, here's hoping.
Alright, so, I mean, that we finished the episode. I guess now we'll just do our final thoughts. I'll go first. So overall, yeah, it was a pretty fun episode. In terms of the fighting, I really enjoyed the more silly fighting, because as awesome as the KyuuRanger fights were and how well they're choreographed, it was always super serious. And I don't know, I enjoy it every now and then, having some lighthearted fun during a fight. Kind of gave me some KyuuRanger feels. There's some pretty silly fights in that show. But yeah, good episode. And I can't wait to see what the heck's gonna happen in the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are gonna get serious next time.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, I had fun with this episode. Eris, thankfully I didn't hate her, so that didn't weigh down the episode for me. Fight scenes were fun. Stinger is... I don't have any dislikes of characters, but Stinger's been a bit higher up above the others for me, so I'm nervous to see what's going to happen to him next week, but I'm still very excited. Plus, I get my little brother back, so I'm happy.
Yeah, like the thing I wound up thinking when I saw the preview of next episode was like, how is it's Kotaro is the Koguma Sky Blue civilian form, right?
Yes.
But I was like, how is he gonna stand up to Stinger in an unmorphed fight? Like, he better know some like 10-year-old jujitsu or something, because that doesn't add up. I hope it winds up being a fight where like he knows he's in over his head, but he's fighting Stinger because he has a reason to anyways. That would be actually very in character for Kotaro.
I did enjoy this episode. I enjoyed some of the combat here. It made the characters stand out a bit more. I still hate, though, that they kind of set Spada up to be, like, the focus character and then ripped that away and gave it to Lucky instead. Like, this is a Sentai. You have a team of main characters. Stop making the red one the main character. It's okay to make him... It's okay to make him better or a bit more important than the others. Stop making him your singular main character.
They even said that the KyuuRangers don't need a leader a few episodes. Well, not just a few episodes ago, quite a few episodes ago, actually.
And that episode pissed me off. They never gave Hami a chance to be the leader in that episode. And she was the one that wanted to do it.
Seriously.
And yeah,
like, it's like...
Go on.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, like... and yeah, I'm super glad that the mech fight wasn't just firing stupid laser beams again. That's super boring. It's fine if that's your go-to finisher. Have an actual mech fight before that, though. KyuuRanger does it, and I'm watching KyuuRanger right now. It's great. They actually fight first, and then they go to the laser beam finisher.
Yeah, like in this KyuuRanger, like at least most of the time when they have a new weapon configuration, you get to see how they use it. But even that's a little basic when we've already had things like KyuuRanger before. And I'm wondering if it's like, okay, so it's really weird and contradictory. It's like they're still making, or at least trying to sell a lot of mecha toys. But then in the show, they're treating them like they're some unpopular thing that everyone's tired of and nobody wants to see anymore. It's like, the people will... Why can't we have both? Like, why can't you just... If people don't like mecha scenes anymore, then if you're Sentai, if you're a mecha show, you should try to make them like mecha again. I mean, like, it's a little bit of a stretch, but I mean, I think if something like Gurren Lagann can bring back interest in 70s style like super mecha, then something like Sentai should be able to do what it's known for best.
You got anything else, Rye?
I think I said my fill.
Alright. I overall, I liked this episode. There were a few things that kind of weirded me out initially, like seeing Eris for the first time, because I myself literally thought it was just Spada in drag.
I have to admit,
it looked that bad initially.
I gotta admit, I was kind of like, they're trying to say like she's like this extremely beautiful princess and stuff, and I don't like to be like, you know, judgmental or anything, but coming from being a cross-dresser myself, she looked a little bit like a dude to me.
And then like I did like I do like the more fun fights with Sentai, because it, like Decade said, coming off of, you know, like JoJo where everything was like super serious all the time, it's nice to have, you know, a little bit of levity in it. It's why I like when Balance and Naga work together, or in this scene or in this fight, Spada or Balance and Hami with the rock paper scissors thing in the little pose. I thought that was just fucking amazing.
Yeah, that was like and apparently okay, so we've got scissors beating paper, we have paper beating rock, and laser beam beats rock. Ah! It's like you kind of lost the plot there a bit.
Like when that scene happened, I had to play it back like 4 times because I couldn't stop laughing.
Okay, what I love about that scene is that when they start, Naga isn't there, and then it cuts to the monster, and it cuts back to them, and Naga's standing next to Balance, and Balance reacts to him as though he just appeared. Like, what?
Cartoons!
You know, and it was nice to have, you know, an actual mech fight because I mean, like we've all touched on, it's like that's what Sentai has been known for. It was, you know, the multicolored, you know, team, and colored as in colored suits, not racist, because, you know, Japanese.
Unless you're talking about Battle Fever.
But
I'm dead.
yeah, I keep forgetting that one exists. I think that was a bad time with Toei. I think Toei.
That was the
decided
first
get
one
little...
to feature mechs.
Yeah, I know, and it was also the most slightly racist one.
I don't know. I've actually watched like about 7 episodes of it, and I thought it was pretty respectful.
Well, I just meant in terms of, oh, hey, you know, let's put a white person in America. You know, it was
Miss
that
America.
thing. I mean, overall, I think it was a good series. Like, but yeah, it started the whole racism trend with Bandai, and subsequently Saban when it came to America, because, you know, there was that whole thing.
That was stupid. But that's
I mean,
a
if I
conversation
may,
for another
like-
time.
But
Okay,
overall,
you're right.
Overall, Sentai has been known for, you know, the colored suits and the giant mech fights. To me, I equate it between, you know, a team up fight show with a Godzilla scene. You know, and they cut out. They've gotten to the point where they're starting to cut out the majority of the mech fights, and it's starting to get irritating because we have the fight scenes, especially with this season that's going on, because we have Xaid, which is basically at this point fucking Super Sentai, and we have those fight scenes.
I don't know about that.
You know, oh, it's getting to that point, but I mean, because we have we've got the fight systems down. Let's get back to the giant mech battles, because in fairness, for a lot of the people that watch Super Sentai and Power Rangers, that's one of the things we enjoy. And if you constantly keep backtracking on one of them, I think they're going to lose viewership with it, and especially with Bandai, they're going to lose toy sales. Because if you don't feature the toy enough, you're not going to sell it. It's why they focus on everything as much as they do.
Yeah.
No.
I think the reason why it looks like Kamen Rider might be doing a little bit better, like I meet more people who are like actively excited about Kamen Rider this year than KyuuRanger, is just that like it at least like knows what it is and has an identity, and it doesn't have any feel like it has any fat to trim. It feels like it's doing what it set out to do, and it doesn't want to. It doesn't have any parts of itself that are just the vestigial elements anymore, and it's just focused on doing what it set out to do extremely well. And it's like, in comparison, KyuuRanger seems a little confused. It almost wants to be Kamen Rider, but it's not allowed to because it isn't.
The thing is that I feel you don't need a mech fight every episode. You could have 1 or 2 per season that just don't have a mech fight. If the on-the-ground stuff makes up for it, but I don't feel KyuuRanger has been hitting that mark of, yeah, we didn't need a mech fight this episode.
Okay, well, what about the start of the Rio Commander introduction? That one only had, 2 minutes tops with Megazord with fights, and they had some pretty good on-the-ground ones.
Oh,
At least the first one, anyway.
actually, that dome one that introduced the Hikari Kyutama, I would have been okay if we didn't get a mech fight for that one. And we only got stupid laser beams after 2 seconds, anyways.
Yeah, it's just like if there's they should only have mech fights in the episodes that actually have time for them. Like you can have a mech fight every other episode, and the show would probably be better for it because at least they wouldn't be forcing them in where they're not really adding anything.
One of the best moments for the mech fights in this show was that one where it had the shot of the on-ground fight with the mech battle happening in the background.
Oh my gosh, that was cool.
Oh yeah.
I like how they do things occasionally to refresh it. It's just then but I think because they're like in a situation where KyuuRanger can't really follow the exact same format as before because they've gone off the rails a bit, sometimes it pays off, and then sometimes they're like, what do we do with this episode? It's like really inspired sometimes, but not so inspired at others. It's really weird.
But yeah, I think that's about all we have to say on that episode. So, gonna head inside. Gonna go ahead and sign off. Unless you guys have anything else.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good here.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you.
Later, taters.
Oh yeah, and real quick, I just want to mention I'm gonna get back to doing actual KyuuRanger episode podcasts this weekend when episode 20 comes out. But these guys will be doing it too, so check us both out.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Thank you guys for watching, and thank you Gokai Platinum from Henshin Sunrise for joining us this week, and for everybody who's wanting to check them out, go check them out on YouTube. And for all of you who are watching for us, we will see you guys most likely tomorrow, for the majority of us, for Kamen Rider Xaid.